Hello, I'm Bradley and welcome to my channel. I want to try to empower you today. I think it's about this time of the year, we're a quarter of the way through, when people can start to feel a little bit flat, people can start to feel a little bit down, they're wondering where things are going. But of course we're facing spring, so it's really important that we look at things positive. Why? Because you're an important individual. Now, when we look at things about how we can empower ourselves, number one, what we should always take note of is that we're all individual and we all have different skill sets and different experiences, and they're all very valid and they're all very important. And you know what? It doesn't matter from what background you come from, who you are, how you address yourself, how you're known as in this world. You are you, and you're a very important and valid individual. So first things first, if you're having negative thoughts about yourself, always challenge those negative thoughts. And actually, sometimes the best thing you can do is in a room on your own is actually recite those, but as positive. So if you've got a negative thought in your head, challenge that and fight right back at it with a positive thought. So if you're feeling down about yourself, or perhaps that you're feeling a little bit isolated, really challenge how far you've come in this world already. Whether you're a student or whether you're facing retirement and anything in between, you still have so much to offer in this world, and your journey is so valid, and yet so much can change every single day. We've only just got to turn the television on or look on social media, and we can look at all of the wrong what's going on in this world, and we can look at all the hatred and all the nastiness which is going on. But there's also so much positive, and we need to concentrate on that. So it's really important that when we're feeling a bit down or when we're feeling a bit low, to really challenge negativity. It's never ever too late to dream, or it's never too early to start. And when you think of a dream, and you think that most people probably never get that fantastic opportunity of being able to realise or live those dreams out. But to be quite honest with you, that's because people get wrapped up in that day-to-day normality, they never challenge themselves, they never do anything spontaneous. When we find ourselves falling quite flat or feeling in the dark or a little bit isolated in life, and we get ourselves into that kind of rat race that we must work a certain way and we need to get a certain income, then do you know what? We all have to do those things. We know that life is expensive to be able to put food on the table, to be able to pay the bills, and there's people who really struggle in this world. But there are small things we can do which ensure us to value the small things in life as well. So do you know what? Yes, it's so important to have that dream. And I know a lot of people will say to me, but I'm never going to quite get there. No, you're never going to get there if you've got that mindset about it already. Challenge yourself. And yet if you haven't got an aspiration or a goal, for example, this year or this summer or coming into the spring, perhaps you've not got something which your heart's set on to do this year. Or perhaps you're in a little bit of a rut with needing to get through payday by payday, or perhaps you're not feeling too great about things in a relationship, or perhaps you're going through a lot of turmoil and a lot of storms and things in the family has been going on. Really challenge those thoughts about yourself. And if you're feeling as though that you're in a bit of a rut about things, perhaps if you can, do some research, perhaps book yourself a spontaneous trip in a couple of weeks' time, or perhaps even if it's just and you haven't got that capability to be able to do those things, perhaps just take your moment and treat yourself. Do something nice for yourself, whether that just be to take yourself off into the local town centre and to treat yourself, or maybe and reinvent yourself by having a new haircut or a new style, or treating yourself to some new clothes. It's really important that whenever we face something in life which makes us feel almost as though that we're captured in a box or we're closed and we can't get out of it, that we hold on to the small notions and that actually we are the only ones which can change the situation we're in. Now, there are a lot of people up and down the country and worldwide who won't be able to change the consequences they're in, but they can change their perception. And empowering ourselves is so important of how we look at it, because ultimately, if we're going to have a negative mindset, we're going to find it really difficult to get through something. In fact, actually, if you're really struggling to that extent, you may not see yourself ever getting through it. Remember, you're an important person. There's only one of you in this world, and you've got so much to offer, so much incredible skill set, so much incredible experience behind you. And remember, whether you're in your teens or whether you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s and beyond, you're still so valid, you're still so important. And if you think to yourself that, you know what, I'm never going to get out of how I'm feeling, then sometimes the most simplest thing is keeping a diary or a journal and writing steps down and really planning and giving yourself that period of time where, do you know what, I'm just going to worry about something, or if I can't stop worrying completely, I'm just going to worry about something for say for example, a 20-minute, 30-minute period of an evening, and I'm just going to switch everything off. I'm going to sit at the table in the kitchen, and I'm going to sit in my room or wherever is your go-to space, okay, where you can relax and feel at peace with your mind and your thoughts. And actually, I'm going to think about everything. I'm going to think about everything what's stressing me out, and I'm going to write it down. And then in that time, write yourself kind of measured goals which are attainable and they're achievable, and in that time period, just allow yourself time to think what you're thinking, stress over what you're stressing, and give yourself measures that actually, do you know what? How can I get myself out of this? How can I build myself out of this? How can I empower myself out of this? So something's stressing you or worrying you, write yourself a simple step that actually on Friday, you're going to take yourself out in the afternoon, you're going to go for a walk. You're going to go for a spontaneous walk, maybe it be the local park, maybe you're going to go for a drive by yourself. You're going to play loud music in the car and you're just going to forget everything with the windows down. Maybe you're going to go out for a meal with your partner. Maybe you're going to go out with a few drinks for some friends. Or maybe you're going to get a new haircut, a completely spontaneous choice. Do something which battles back on those kind of feelings of feeling trapped and that we can't get out of what we're in. Remember, my friends, we've got one life, one journey, one opportunity. Let's not waste it. And if you're thinking, why should I get up? Why should I keep going with all of this? Because you're far too important not to keep going. You're far too important not to see what that end goal is. And for all of us, that will be so different. For many, that will be family resolutions. For many, that will be financial freedom. That could be a relationship goal. It could be getting married. It could be you've got a baby on the way. It could be that you've just met a girlfriend, boyfriend. You're catching up with friends. Maybe your family's going through something at the moment. Everybody's goals in life will be very, very different. But the thing is that when we're feeling low, we have to pick ourselves up. We have to empower ourselves. Look at the year, for example. So we're in March at the moment. So we've had that amazing time at Christmas and everybody is feeling a little bit blue, for example, then coming into January. And you've, of course, got the bleak of winter, and sometimes that can be quite difficult and people can be quite low in mood and they can really feel that they're in a bit of a rut and they're really struggling. Perhaps people have spent a little bit too much from the Christmas season, but yet you've got the springtime coming. So whatever we're doing, hopefully you can understand that my way of getting through things, and I've been through a fair few storms in my 31 years of life, but it's how we look at it and it's how we empower ourselves against it. That actually, do you know what? If you want to dream something, dream it. If you want to aspire to be something, do it. If you want to have a conversation and you want to sort of just take time with yourself and your thoughts, you know, that's okay. Because sometimes we've got to go through the awkwardness, we've got to go through a few mistakes before we can kind of get ourselves through the rough of it, before we're on the opposite end. And we've got that clarity, we've got that clear kind of path to go forward of how we pick ourselves up, how we get ourselves back up again. But to empower ourselves today, for example, let's look at it. So let's challenge negative thoughts. Let's put time aside to worry and stress over things. But yet the last 5 minutes of that time, say for example you do it for a 30-minute period every 2 days or 3 times a week maybe, that 5 minutes at the end, jot down a few points, even on a piece of paper, or perhaps you've got a bit of a scrapbook or a notebook wherever you keep it, or even in your phone, that actually on those last couple of minutes of that allocated stress time, what are you going to do to make things better for yourself? What are you going to do to reward yourself from challenging negative thoughts? Really, really so important. Next thing, always remember to practice personal care. Now, I don't mean rushing to the bathroom, sorting your hair out, or using expensive creams or one thing or another, or a shave or anything like that at all, a nice expensive aftershave. I mean self-care, so mindfulness, making time to acknowledge that actually, do you know what, there is a couple of things wrong in my life at the moment, but acknowledging that there are so many good things in our lives as well. And actually, we've only got to look at the wider world, and we look at all the war going on and all the hatred and all the unkind things which are happening in the world, where a lot of people are forced into those scenarios for no choice of their own. But yet, you know what? Often those individuals are the most happiest and the most positive people, but yet they have very little. And I find that that teaches us so many incredible things, that actually there are people in the Western world who have so much, but yet seemingly are still so very unhappy. Now, it's not for us to judge, and I'm certainly never ever going to judge or presume anything on anybody's life. But do you know what? That challenging the negativity in our life, that perception change, that empowering, that actually, do you know what? People think that to be successful, that you've got to have a degree, you've got to have several different qualifications out behind you, or you've got to be of a certain salary figure. Do you know what? That to me is not being successful. To be successful is to be at peace with yourself, to be of a healthy mindset, to take time to acknowledge what's wrong and what we need to work on in our lives, but also to enjoy the small things and to cherish every single moment of this life. And actually, to be successful is this actually you can be at peace with everything, the bad and the good, and actually that your friends, your family are all around you, and that you're content. That to me is successful. And let's remember, at the end of the day, if you walk into a room, whether it be an office building or a government building or a store or on the high street or whatever, everybody is equal, whether you've got 50 degrees or whether you've got no qualifications at all or no money in the bank or somebody is filthy rich. Well, let's put it this way, my friend. What I can do, you can't. What you can do, I can't. We're equal. And it's just our personal choice in this society. We have chosen to do something, or we've chosen something which then has an impacting factor that you, out of love, are looking after family, or you've gone on to be a homemaker, and yet the other person in your relationship is working hard and you're doing it together as a partnership, and you're bringing an incredible life together. But just because you haven't got a university degree doesn't mean that you're not successful. You could be far more successful than somebody with all those qualifications. And of course, not to take anything away from that, that actually, do you know what? People who have worked so hard for all different qualifications and things, fantastic, amazing, incredible job and well done for you. And I really hope that people are happy with that. But it's just that we have to acknowledge that we are not all of the same. And society sometimes pushes people in corners to think that to be successful, you have to do that. And do you know, it's that pressure which often makes people unhappy, down in the dumps and feeling quite blue. And I think about the March time of the year, it's really important that we look inside ourselves and we empower ourselves. That actually, do you know what? It's only us which can change this. We've got one opportunity in this life. And I always say this in the analogy that actually we're all writing our own book in this life. So write your book how you'd wish to read it. Do you want to read an action thriller, or do you want to read something a little bit grey, a little bit sort of difficult to follow, and a little bit of a yawn fest maybe? No. And you know what? I know all of these changes take time, and I know in this world that it's expensive just to lead a standard living of life, but there is so much great in our lives as well, and there's so many positive things, and there's so much good fortune. None of it has to really do with money at times either. We're all blessed with so many great things, and I know a lot of us go through a lot of negative and difficult things as well. But it's finding that balance, my friend. Every storm passes. Every day passes. There will be sad people which are going through things right now, and they won't necessarily get to see a bright, positive future. But you know what? As time passes, there is positive. There is light out there. And you know what? It's important that we acknowledge that this life, and this is going to sound really gloomy, it's not forever. So let's grab it whilst we can, and let's embrace it, and let's make it magical and incredible. Because it is good. And I know there is a lot of bad in this world, but do you know what? You're an important person. You're an amazing individual. There's only one of you in this world, my friend. And for that alone makes you truly remarkable. So on that note, if you're feeling a bit down in the dumps, a bit low, remember, pick yourself back up, smile, and just recite all the positive things, all the great things you've achieved already in this life, and challenge those negative thoughts. Make time for mindfulness, come up with a plan, and practice self-care. And I don't just mean in the bathroom, I mean in your mindset here and physically as well. God bless you, take great care, and I look forward to you joining me real soon. Bye now.